Hello, welcome to another Morris modelling thing. Ignore the noise. It's currently warm, need my window open. Next door, they just don't care about us, they're just... Anyway, let's not dwell on matters like that. Let's focus on today's subject. Making your own DCC, well, harnesses I suppose is the best way to call it, not sockets as I was going to say. So, because of the fact that you've got engines like these that don't have DCC sockets already installed, it's like PCB boards or whatever, because these are the old Ginty chassis even, I tend to find that it's best to at least try and fit a socket to them, which doing it this way will probably mean it will fit a lot better. And so I'm going to show you tools which we'll need to make sure this all works properly. I am missing one of the things, which is the blanking plate, so we can test it, but nah, can sort that out later, can't I? Anyway, so obviously for when you tinker around with certain bits, you want a screwdriver. Not necessarily needed unless like you're putting the engine back together, so I'll take that away. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over the optional bits first. Super glue optional. Poly cement optional, mainly because I don't know whether you want it permanently affixing or not, and plus it all depends whether your loco has a sorry, motorbikes, it all depends whether you have a metal chassis or not. So there you go. I would advise more so to use white tack or blue tack if I've got some to hand. I did do. What have I done with it? Here we go. White tack, blue tack, whatever tack you want to tack. And then you can just sort of fix it on somewhere where it doesn't have any... so you're not touching metal on metal. So move those out of the way because they're what I'm going to be converting, so you know we need the chassis. So for the way that I'm doing it, I've ordered some PCB breadboard type things. Oh, that did show the right side, but the other side was covered by another one the wrong way up. So you've got plenty of space to make many chips if you want, or just sockets even. Wire strippers, again, this is useful for loco. If you, I mean, this is what I got with the soldering iron kit that I bought. But if you can get something like these, far better. So I'm going to leave them on the table, and I shall take this set away. So obviously you want some flux, because obviously I don't know whether this is lead free or not, presumably so, but hey ho. But you want some flux to sort of help that flow. Pull that over to one side. I keep meaning to take things out the frame, sorry about that. Obviously you need some little sockets. Don't know how well it's going to show up on camera. There we go. I've got 3 here and one that's come out of a loco at some point. Oh, it's got a blanket plate in it, so that saves me a job of grabbing one of them. But yeah, that was in a loco. Kind of broke the loco at some point. Kind of kept that. Thought it'd be useful one day. Didn't know I was going to be doing this. So there you go. Right, I'm going to try and move forward a bit so that I'm a bit closer. Right. So obviously you want a file potentially, because this will come in handy for when you're having to sort the sharp bits. But then again, with the next thing, a Dremel, you can cut through and sand off what you need. Craft knife is good for marking things. because obviously you need to mark stuff. I've got this paintbrush which came with a BRM thing. I've got this from one of the people sets, and then I got given another people set, so it's a case of like, I've got a brush I can use for the flux. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a bit of dabby dab 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 dab. This is optional for if you've got one like this where it's already on a PCB. Desoldering braid, or solder wick, or whatever you want to call it. It's just so you can get the solder off the parts. So there you go. Anyway, oh, and also pliers, not pliers, what are they called? Tweezers. Plenty of tweezers. I mean, they say to use anti-static ones, but I don't know where mine are at the moment. I'll put them somewhere, as you do. Obviously you need soldering iron, and also you need your I'll bring this in shot, Dremel tool piece kit thingy, rather quite handy. And I've got more super off to the side because I'm prepared like that. So yeah, I feel like this camera should be moved up a bit, I'm not sure, but meh. Anyway, I'm gonna go and get some water for that and get this going, and then, well, I shall clear most of this off and I shall join you in a second. Be back in a moment. Oh, it's now going to cut one on mid-touch. Now obviously I can't show you all the ins and outs and sausage rolls of doing this, but I can show you what I know and what I'm going to be doing. So for example, I can't show you how to do a 6-pin socket because I'm not doing a 6-pin socket. This is usually just me doing what I can when I can. Because I'm doing this for fun. I'm not really doing this as a demonstrational piece or what have you. I'm doing it because, well, I feel like it's interesting watching me do stuff. I mean, I know these are only little informational things and it may seem like filler to some people, but the way you got to see it is, why have I got a 4-pin decoder? The way you got to see it is a case of like, it's a bit of fun, and what's the point of being a grown up if you can't be childish sometimes, as they say. So there you go. So I'm gonna prep this so it's got the right thing. I only just discovered what this bit did recently, and I'm so annoyed that I never knew it before, because it would have saved me so much time when they're screwing things in and out of stuff. Right, once you've done that, I'll probably sped that up or cut it out. This is where you want to grab your socket that you're going to be using, and then have a look at your board. Find out, see if it'll fit for a start. But then see if you're happy with the position of it, because obviously you're going to be cutting it out. So I'm going to be going for one of the 5 hole areas. Not that one, that one looks like it's got a cut in it or something, crack. So I'm going to use this one because it's already got a nice hole for what I need. It's apparently wet. So I'll place it in, check the holes and everything. So as you can see, there's a nice row at the top and at the bottom. Or at the side even, and I'm going to cut along those rows. So I'll speed this up, so you know I'm to live through the sound of this. Oh, my hand's tingly. Because that will happen when you're doing this sort of thing. So then you end up with your little corner cut out. Pull these to one side. And then you've got your little kind of square piece, which now we just need to sand flat, which now I've discovered my little sanding disc pieces. I'm going to be using one of those because I put it on this little rubber bit which I think is designed for it. So I need to unhook, take that out, hook that in. Hopefully I actually turn this the right way. There we go. And then away we go again. And there we have it. Right, I'm just gonna cut a few more bits out. I'm not gonna record this. Or I may, I don't know. Depends how long I've got left on the camera. But I shall be back in a hot minute. So, now that they're all done, let's move them out of the way. And let's talk about how we're going to do this. So, obviously you can see I've cut the PCB down to size, you've got copper one side, the holes on the other. So, my best suggestion in this case is to go like that. Put the thing, well, not in those holes, in the middle holes like that. And then what you want to do is once it's soldered in, you want to just Dremel down the middle as neatly as you can. I have to try and get one of those bits and have a very, very precise cut. And in fact, here's one I made earlier. To use a Britishism. See the cut in the middle? This is the one without the cut. So that's basically what you need to do. And so you still put your thing in, still plenty of copper to solder to. At least I think there's plenty. Looks plenty. So again with a bit of magic. Here's one I made earlier. Well, just made. I was literally just testing out how this was going to work, how it was going to look. And that looks like it will accept wire quite nicely. I mean, there's a couple of bits which could have done with a bit more solder. Not gonna lie. But as long as I get rid of the excess flux on it, it'll be golden. So, to show what I did best I can, I got one of my sockets like that, upside down. Then made sure to put the board on the right way so that you could get all the pins in. you then get your flux. This is a very weird looking flux and it doesn't smell like flux at all, but it does work. And then you, hang on, I'm probably going to turn this on a second. Just so you can see what you're doing, or see what I'm doing. But then you just sort of, well, I'm just kind of painting it on to the copper where it's going to be needed. I try and blob on the pins as best I can, because that way it's going to stick around all the pins. You rotate it, get the little splippy blob. Paint it all over where you want it. But I have noticed that it does tend to help the metal stick to one another rather than going off course. Again, just make sure you covered all those pins. Now this is the difficult part, which is why I'm going to have to move this a bit more forward. We want all the flux off of those pins. I'm just gonna get a brief dabby dab dab dab. Right, so again, this is the tricky part because I've done this close up to my face. Now it's all further away and it's kind of strange. So make sure everything's out of the way. Just give that a second. Just want to make sure this is nice and straight, or as straight as I can get it. By this I mean the solder itself. So as you can see, it's sort of stayed on the copper quite nicely, that. And that's a socket wired up. Let's grab that so I can show you it done. As you can see, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not the best. Like I'm no proper electrician, but I'm very pleased with that. Very pleased. I'm pleased with both of them. But this is why you kind of need that cut down the middle, because if you were to have had that one, which I've saved on purpose, it would flow straight across, and you'd basically just may as well not have had the socket in the first place. So yeah. So basically, with this next bit, it helps to have an engine to hand, or even a DCC decoder to hand when you're wiring up. There's the chip. I'm going to use the chip to look at as I'm soldering, so I don't get things mixed up. Because you want your first pin to be orange and fifth pin to be red. Orange is your motor thing, so that would be this one. So on this thing here, I would need that to go there, realistically, which is fine, it's doable. So what I'll do, get me a nice chunky wire strippers out. Just take a little bit more. Of the wire coating off. I'm sure you probably, if you're looking at DCC, and you've probably seen this next bit 100 times, because you've got to do the whole tinning the wire thing. So this time it's going to be that tad a bit different. Oop. If I don't get it locked on. Right, so to be fair, these don't matter which way up they go at the moment, as long as you just make sure that you wire them correctly. So I've got to get this wire onto there. And voila, we are done. Just got to put the motor back in its slot. Just going to rotate that so that the board is more the right way. More or less the right way even. So, obviously, I need to test this somehow. Ignore that. So what I'm going to do is, because I know this way around it will work properly, I'm going to get some white blue tack, whatever. And I've got a bunch on my mat without realising. Choose what I had earlier. Right, I'll just put that on top of the. Put the white tack on top of the motor once I've got it a bit more malleable. And we'll just temporarily mount that up there, just while we're testing, because our first test will obviously be DC operation. If it works as it was originally conceived. Hello, sorry about the delay in this video. It's been a little while, and basically I realised I sorted this up wrong. That's why we're not jumping straight into the testing just yet, because I've realised that this has been wired up in a mirror image, because I thought the same size matched up with the same sides. No, I've managed to wire the motor up to the track power side and the track power side to the motor side. Reason I know that I've done that is because I tested it with a chip, and basically the chip went and fried. And that's kind of an indication you've done something wrong. I do plan on fixing this now. Just waiting for the soldering iron to heat up, which I'll test in a minute. But what I've done, separated the motor from the chassis and put that like that. So while that's heating up, I just want to explain. So because of the whole lockdown thing, I've been basically not been the best in mental state, as I doubt most people were, and those that obviously can deal with being home alone for a while. And basically I was making so many videos, which I've realised, to the point where basically I think I was scared I was running out of ideas, and I basically lost motivation, partly because neighbours were being noisy as hell, partly because, well, when I did want to do something, it was too warm, you know, curse of summer and all that. So that's why this has been delayed by about a month, I would say. Don't know what that was for. So there you go. So I'm going to see if this is warmed up enough, if I can remember where I put my solder. So I literally put it somewhere to hand, that's where I put it. And as soon as I know this is melty on here, which it is, I'm going to now sort this. I just want to clean my tip before I do anything. Always clean your tip, you don't want a dirty tip. That sounds better in my head. So I'm just going to give this a quick tinning. I'm going to start by desoldering that side and then the other side. Is on. So now we should move over to actually testing this thing. Bring it more in shot because that way you can see. Because now that is all wired correctly. So time for a test. So now it's wired up correctly. I would have jumped into the running sooner, but the motor had an issue with it. This is the same motor, I've just replaced the brushes and springs, but it now works flawlessly, look. So as soon as I get a chance I'm going to run this in at the club, but that's basically it. That's how you make and fit your own DCC harness on the cheap. I mean, what you're best doing at this point though is make sure your wires are separated properly and you put a bit of electrical tape or something behind so that it doesn't start shorting with everything else, which I'll do in my own time because I'm going to continue fitting more locos with these sockets, but until that point it's a case of, yeah, that's it for the moment. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Yes, I know it's been a bit of a while, but yeah, things happen, don't they? So hopefully in the near future, when club and stuff is back open, I may just have a circular track running, I don't know, depends how I can be bothered. I should have reviews out soonish. I've just got to record them yet. So, shall catch you all later. Goodbye.